We say things turn to righteousness, to justice, Lord, to truth. We say things turn back to the way of a divine reset and a rebirthing of this nation once again.
Do whatever it takes to stop any cheating, any lying, anything that the enemy would do to steal this.
What you just saw was how combining politics with religion has way too much power over so many people in this country.
If you love freedom, if you support diversity and the rights of minorities, if you're a fan of women being able to vote, if you're in favor of lifting people out of poverty, if you promote freedom of speech and religion, and if you're grateful that slavery has been ended, then you owe our founding fathers eternal, undying gratitude and honor.
Let me be very clear. There were so many historical lies from that biblical scholars rant. Number one, the founding fathers, many of them owned slaves and they fought to protect slavery. Number two, they did not allow women to vote. Number three, they were not trying to fight for the rights of minorities or foster diversity. And number four, they damn sure were not concerned with lifting people out of poverty. But it just shows you how easy it is to spread misinformation and lie about historical events when you tangle it with religion.
Children, our founding fathers knew that slavery was evil and wrong, and they knew that it would do terrible harm to the nation. They wanted it to end, but their first priority was getting all 13 colonies to unite as one country. The southern colonies were dependent on slave labor, and they wouldn't have joined a union that had banned it.
Are you okay with that?
I'm certainly not okay with slavery, but the founding fathers made a compromise to achieve something great.
That's PragerU completely disrespecting and stomping on the legacy and grave of Frederick Douglass in order to spread the white supremacist propaganda about the founding of our country and also Douglass's beliefs. Because anybody who has some working brain cells or has picked up a history book that is accurate knows that Douglass made a very famous speech in 1852 during the commemoration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Douglass says, "What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I enter a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty and unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity, your sound of rejoicing are empty and heartless." And there's more, but you get the picture. But the fact that conservatives are doing this through the use of PragerU just shows how demonic they are in trying to pass on these beliefs and ideologies to the next generation, which guess what? The children are going to end up being our future leaders. So that's a problem.
Have you kids heard of William Lloyd Garrison?
No. Nope.
He's an abolitionist like me, and he and I used to be friends, but we aren't any longer. We don't agree how to solve problems. William refuses all compromises, demands immediate change, and if he doesn't get what he wants, he likes to set things on fire.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds like you know the type.
Yeah, we've got that type in our time.
So, you're trying to work for change inside of the American system.
Precisely, Layla. Our system is wonderful, and the Constitution is a glorious liberty document.
That's a reference, first of all, to the Black Lives Matter protest. And it's very insulting to Black Americans in general because you don't get to a place of wanting to burn something down overnight. It happens over time where your humanity and dignity are never taken into consideration. You're not seen as a human for decades, centuries really, in this case. And then you got the whole house Negro trope going on. But it sounds like you're trying to make change from inside the house. And we know how that goes. The really scary part about the PragerU curriculum is it's been approved by Florida schools. And mind you, this is an unaccredited right-wing advocacy group that seeks to offer an alternative to dominant left-wing ideologies. And the PragerU CEO is talking about how we've seen that our schools have been hijacked by the left. They've been politicized. They have been used by union bosses. They've been doing everything under the sun, not for our children. When in actuality, you're the ones who are politicizing education because under the direction of Ron DeSantis, this is where it's all coming from, you are trying to whitewash the history of our country. You are trying to have revisionist history. And you're doing it at the expense of children's minds and really at the expense of the marginalized communities and minorities who are already at a disadvantage, and they're going to be even further cooked in terms of their brains if you're teaching this education. Because guess what? Florida teachers cannot be fired if they use PragerU. That's another thing. That's why it's so important that Ron DeSantis not gain any more power when we're talking about the presidential election or the Republican nominee, and that people continue to speak out and protest against his policies and his actions because he is certainly a danger to our country.